marijuana strains, supply chains, and wings from Hurricane on this week's Chicken Wings and Controversial Things.
Good evening, everyone. It's a wonderful day here with my good pals Taj Dewar and Oswaldo Hernandez, and today we're going to be trying.
Man, he called you a government name, son.
I know. Damn.
Oswaldo Hernandez.
We have Social Security number 653-2856 every time.
And today we're going to be trying wings from Hurricane Group.
Yeah.
We're going to be trying the following flavors: Gold Rush, Coco Loco. These do sound like some stripper names. I can't.
They do. Yeah.
Boss, and Cyclone.
Yeah, it's 2 male strippers and 2 female strippers.
And we're going to be touching on 2 very polarizing topics. One that we deal with every day. 2 of the topics will be the MORE Act, and the other will be supply chain issues that we're dealing with in our country. Now, I wanted to jump right into the MORE Act. So this is something that's very interesting. There's been numerous acts that have been passed throughout the House, and many times it just dies when it gets to the Senate. It dies upon arrival.
Of course.
Now, the MORE Act stands for Marijuana Opportunity, Reinvestment, and Expungement Act. Now,
which sounds great on the surface.
It does, and what they want to do is to decriminalize and deschedule marijuana on a federal level. Now, with that being said, there's a couple blue states per se, like New York, that want to give people who have previous felonies for distribution of marijuana, they want them to have first dibs when it comes to retail licenses.
Right.
And
35 grams or better.
Yes.
If it's more than that, then you stay where you at.
Yes. And
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to dive into the reinvestment and the expungement part. But first, the reinvestment. Now, according to the Act, what is it? HR 3617. Now, in this Act, it says that in order to obtain all the licenses, registrations, and everything you need to open up a marijuana business, it can cost upwards of $700,000. Now, on top of that, you also have to prove that it didn't come from your old stash. So you have to
you do that.
Exactly.
Different strains. I mean, the way you can trace it back to where it was grown and how it was grown and who you got it from. Like,
You know what my worry is when you're doing stuff like that?
Yeah.
It's a couple of presidents ago, a big thing happened. Okay, this president allowed a company to patent a DNA sequence. Okay, and in doing so, it changed farming completely. So what happens is you're a farmer, and I sell these special seeds, right? If my farm is next to yours and we cross-pollinate, you're going to have to buy seeds from me now, or your ass is mine. I'm going to sue you. Because usually a farmer would keep like 10% of their take for seeds for next year. So with this whole, it can't be your old stash, I wonder if now the government's going to get their hand in, and Monsanto's going to get their hand in, and there's going to be certain strains that are legal.
listen, all of the above.
Yeah, no. I think so too.
Let's think about this. The reason why okay, so again, this is such a deep dive. So the reason why marijuana, number one, took so long, because Carter put it in as a Schedule 1 drug.
Well, no, it wasn't even Carter. It was Theodore. It was Franklin Roosevelt.
No, Carter's the one that changed it, so it was
So it was a Schedule 1.
Schedule 1.
Okay.
Right.
But in 1937, okay, I think it was called the Marijuana Prohibition Act or whatever. There was a senator that was sponsoring all these bills.
Right.
Okay, and this guy was the type of guy that believed that marijuana made black men want to sleep with white women. Okay. Which it's actually true, but I don't think it's the marijuana. Okay. But actually, the thing back then is that news didn't travel as fast as it does today. Right now, news is instantaneous. So the real reason why they slid this in and they said, you know what, it makes the blacks violent, it makes them want to rape white women, was that after the Great Depression, unemployment was up to 40%. Okay, so where we always talk about, oh, the immigrants are going to take our jobs, they never do. But the Mexicans had all the agricultural jobs down south, and we got so desperate in this country that we took something that Mexicans did, which was smoke marijuana. Okay, we made it basically illegal, and we used it as an excuse to get rid of them all, because the regular folk in this country were willing to go work in the fields because there were no jobs. Not until World War II took us out of the depression, basically by increasing production with wartime production. So yeah, Carter might have changed it, but the history of it being illegal was never for addiction purposes or any of this. They had all these propaganda movies like Reefer Madness, okay, that showed, you know, they consumed marijuana once and they died, you know.
Yes, and there was also ads in the 90s. If you smoke marijuana, you're gonna turn gay.
Right.
Well, I think that one might be true.
Oh shit. So again, it's had a tumultuous history, right?
Right.
So I based on everything that based on all the facts that we've read, Carter was the one that turned it into a Schedule I drug, right? And that's where it really affected brown folk and black folk.
Right. Well, before, what happens is that you needed a tax stamp to grow marijuana, but they didn't give any out. Okay, it's kind of like the oil leases now, and there's no permits. It's kind of, but it was more extreme. Something curious though with this MORE Act is how they're going to define marijuana, because I read something very interesting the other day. There was this guy, what's his name? Ben Cox, I think was his name. He did a TED Talks, okay? And the TED Talk he did was marijuana 70 years ago, or in the 70s, and marijuana in the 60s had a THC level of 0.5%, okay? And the cannabis industry now has taken the same stance as the alcohol industry, okay? So what you're really selling is THC, and you're literally taking out a THC extract, okay, an isolate, and you're adding it to things in a certain percentage. So when you're consuming some of these marijuana products and some of these strains because of crossbreeding, you're talking, some of them have up to 30% THC. And when you're talking about 30% THC, you're now talking about detrimental effects on health and the psyche. Okay, it increases your chances of depression and this and that in groups that were already likely to do this. So this guy in Colorado, that's him. They did a study, and they said, okay, in Colorado we legalized marijuana, and let's see what the effects are on criminal activity, on arrests. Okay, it turns out that in the white population, it lowered drug arrests. Okay, it absolutely lowered drug arrests. Something like 18% they went down. In Hispanics, it actually went up close to 20%, the arrests. And in the black community, marijuana-related arrests went up 51%. Okay, because what happens is it's this dispensary economy doesn't include the lower income. Okay, and they know that 80% of the products that they push out are going to be used by the lower income. It's just like the alcohol industry. So I think natural marijuana that's been grown and used for thousands of years, I have no problem with that. I do have problem with maybe legalizing something that is 60 times stronger and marketed toward a certain group, because I mean they come in gummies and candies and chocolates, and okay, and that might actually have the detrimental effect of regular addiction. Okay, but it's yet to be seen. But it's something to point out, you know.
I'm glad you started that by saying that that's what you think.
Right.
But there's no facts behind that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So and
the criminality part was an actual study that was done.
No, the criminality. No, not the criminality part. I'm talking about the addiction part,
Right.
or the damage to you based on the level of THC.
That
right?
yeah, because the problem is that since it's a Schedule 1 drug,
Right, but
You're a lab.
It was put as a Schedule 1 drug to fuck over blue.
right. It was, but
brown
it
and
was
black
done.
people. 'Cause
It was done at a time when marijuana isn't what marijuana is today, and because it's a Schedule 1 drug, a lab can't legally do a study.
right.
Okay.
Well, not a lab in the United
No.
States,
It's
but labs all over everywhere else.
Right.
I want to just piggyback on what you mentioned about how this affects people of color and minorities. Now, I'm just going to cite the bill, of course.
Yeah,
Now,
because we got it here.
yes. Now, in the bill it states that minorities, mainly black men, that their sentences are 13.6 times longer than their counterparts, than white men, than Latinos, for selling it. And now, in regards to revenue that this generated, in 2020, the marijuana business as a whole generated over $20 billion. But there's only 4% of African Americans that have their hands in it.
Yeah.
Well,
Legally.
it's too much of a startup cost to be feasible for just about anybody. Yeah, and
I mean, to start even a grow farm or grow house legally.
You would need
It's a
large
ridiculous amount of
capital.
money.
in
like,
Florida, you need to have already had a nursery for 20 years.
Right.
Okay, so it's nearly impossible.
Right.
And with the sentencing, that's the sentencing across the board tends to be like that. And a lot of like left-leaning groups are saying, okay, well, we're going to lower the sentences for minorities, and they're doing it. They're doing it like George Gascon in California, Kim Fox in Chicago, or I think she's in Chicago. They're lowering the sentences of sometimes violent criminals to kind of even things out, when I think they're looking at it from the wrong end of the room. I think if you want to even out sentencing, first of all, there's nothing you can do to make up for the sentencing that happened before. But what you have to do is, you have to have standard sentencing. Okay? If an African American is sentenced to 8 years for possession of a kilo of cocaine, the white guy needs to get 8 years too. Okay? It's not that the African American guy needs to get 2 years and then we'll just keep everything the same because we're evening things out. And that's what's happening now. Okay? It's not a matter of lowering, it's a matter of being accountable and raising it on the ones that you're not.
Right setting it, but remember the eyes of the law are humanized as well. So,
They are.
talking about, yes, I agree about right setting it, right? However, the people that are there now, or the people who have suffered already, they need to. I mean, I agree. The part that I agree with is that the
expunging.
Yeah.
expunging of the record. Sorry, I couldn't get that word out. Expunging of their record, right?
Yeah.
100%, right? 35 grams or less. Okay, cool.
And people have been wronged with this shit.
Of course.
Okay, there was a judge in New York, what was it, maybe like 5 years ago now, who was arrested and indicted and convicted. Okay, and now he's in prison because we privatized prisons in this country a long time ago. And this guy was getting a kickback for putting people in jail.
Yeah,
and
I remember that.
Where he was in New York, it was all 16, 17, 18-year-old black kids getting caught with, 3 joints.
3 joints.
And they were going for 5 years.
5 years.
And if they had repeat offenses, they were going for 25 years.
3 strikes and they're in for good.
That fucker's in jail now, I think, for 20 years. Right. And he's already like 60-something, so he's dead.
So, in the event, not to split hairs here, but I agree with you as far as we need to right set. I think we need to standardize it. But before we start doing that, we have to make sure that we take care of the people that the lives they've ruined, or the lives that have been ruined by getting caught with 2 joints. The people that lost their life for because it's a Schedule 1 drug.
Yeah.
Right? And it's
going to jail ruins your life.
It does.
It can.
It
can.
And the only time going to jail doesn't ruin your life is when you belonged in jail, you made a 360, and you improve the quality of your life. But
180.
someone who has never, 180, sorry. But someone that has never done anything and gets caught with, a baggie of weed or something like that, and it's to the point that they have to go to jail, you have to change to survive in prison.
Oh, prison.
And when you come out of prison, we all know people that have been in prison, you don't come out the same.
Of course not.
Okay.
You've been institutionalized.
I had a cousin that, he was the cool guy in high school. He was the cool guy at the party. And he decided that he was going to crash a birthday party that wasn't even his. And they kicked him out. He came back with his friends, and they shot up the place. They paralyzed one kid and shot like 3 other people. Nobody died.
Okay, well, he deserved to go to jail.
No, he deserved to go to jail. And this guy was the cool kid in town, right? I ran into him 20 years later, maybe 15 years later, probably 20, at a wedding. And I saw him, and he looked like he had just gotten out. Like, if a bird fluttered on one side, he was like, okay, that shit changes you forever.
Of course.
Okay.
Especially if you're in there with hard-earned criminals. Like,
the problem is there really is no separation unless you did accounting fraud or tax fraud. You're not going to one of these country clubs. You're going to the freaking pokey.
Yes.
Okay.
And I wanted, to build on that. So there's 13 states where you can obtain all these licenses to run a business,
right.
to run a dispensary, right? But since it's a Schedule 1, you can't deposit that cash.
Right,
into banks.
because it's
So if there's one minor mishap, if your plant is not properly accounted for, you can go to jail. So then,
and they'll seize your money with RICO warrants, with
exactly.
RICO laws.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So even though you're doing everything right, every step of the way, if you have one slip up, there's not a big difference as in you operating your business legally and you selling on the street, and then you just run into this rut of being institutionalized.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, again, look at it. Surface level, what are we, 20 minutes in, and we haven't really gotten to the meat and potatoes of this thing just yet?
You really haven't.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
The carrots and celery of it.
the carrots.
The carrots and celery.
So talking about marijuana is crazy, man, because there's so many missed facts. There's so many skewed opinions. There's so many things that this country has demonized as far as marijuana goes. There's so many lives that have been ruined as far as like black and brown people and some white people as well.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
We all forget about the poor white folk. Right.
I think it's socioeconomic, definitely, and it's a shame because some people are trapped.
Yeah.
And this is the fastest way out.
Yep.
If you're living in the hood and you're 5'9", you ain't going to college. Okay.
You can't. You just can't play basketball.
You can't play basketball, and what are you gonna do? You can get a scholarship. But you know what? These days it's different. When you and me grew up, it was more like that.
Yeah,
when our
it's tough.
parents grew up, it was really
worse.
like that.
Yeah.
Like my father's name is Osvaldo Hernandez Sr., and he was a sophomore in college, and they were just throwing calculus classes on him. They didn't want anybody named Osvaldo Hernandez at this university. And it forced him to enlist in the Air Force during Vietnam. And he ended up going to Vietnam, and it ended up paying for his education. But, this was a different place by the time he had come back.
Absolutely.
Now it's different. Okay, I think the internet makes the world a whole lot smaller. Even in the hood, the world is a whole lot smaller.
It is.
Okay,
You can take think out of that statement. The internet does make the
It
world
makes it smaller, and it makes opportunities more accessible to you.
Yeah, just like that 5'9" guy that you happen to know him. I think you know Jeff Bezos.
Oh yeah.
The one that has the flying penis that's going up to the.
Well, the problem is if you find a space vagina, you have to get it pregnant.
I'm just saying, we got to do our thing. that was a crazy, like, really.
And now officially, you have to sign into YouTube to watch this episode.
Yeah, confirm your birthday.
Yes, you do. Absolutely.
That's how this shit works.
Yes.
So what wings do we have here? Here's the problem. We're trying wings from Hurricane Sports Grill. They look okay. They all look the same. There was no clean labeling, even though I ordered 4 different ones.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that my rule will still apply. That the matte
ones are the hot
will
ones.
be hot. But other than that,
And these will be the Gold Rush.
And these will be
Coco Loco is
the
no,
honey
Coco Loco
mustard.
is the no, Coco Loco is the hot one. I don't know.
Right, that's the Coco Loco.
Man, I don't know.
This is the Cyclone. Gold Rush has honey mustard on it. And the boss is garlic parm. I don't see any garlic parm in this whole
I
damn
think that's
that
garlic
looks
parm
like
right there.
garlic parm.
That looks like freaking the sauce from the inside of a Big Mac.
So, I'd love to give Miss Chili's a plug, but we don't have any of it.
We don't have any Miss Chili's.
We do have a hot sauce, but it's not Miss Chili's. But
You
we
gotta
haven't
go.
forgotten about you, Miss Chili's. Robert is here is where you find it.
Yep. Or you
Down
go
in
to
Homestead.
Miss Chili Peppers.
Is it
.com?
Miss Chili? Is it Miss Chili Pepper?
I think it might be MissChiliPepperSauce.com. Just look up Miss Chili Peppers because if you just put MissChili's.com, you might get some spicy websites.
Yeah. Something of the OnlyFans nature.
Yeah.
So, all right, cool deal. So,
I'm gonna try this out.
Yeah, let's jump right in.
you want to jump in?
It's the matte one. Okay.
Yep. So I'll dive into the matte one too. Got a little bit of everything, right?
I can't tell what that is. And I had a feeling. That's why I brought those hot sauces.
I can't tell.
You can't tell, right? I think we're just gonna have to compare it to another one. This tastes like a plain wing to me.
Yeah,
It does.
I think this one we might need the sauce for it. Paper towel.
Oh, you have some here.
Oh, I didn't see it. My bad.
I like this green sauce.
Tabasco.
The Tabasco green. So yeah, so the MORE Act passed the House of Representatives, right?
Yes. So
Yes.
originally, from what I read is that they wanted to send it to the Senate on the 20th, on 4/20.
Which would be symbolic, but then Joe Biden has to sign it. Which I think he would.
Of course.
Only problem with this is that the minute they legalize something so profitable in the United States, you know, it's gonna come creeping around.
Russia.
No, Russia ain't gonna do no damn creeping. Freaking Chinese. Next thing you know, they're gonna be spraying it with THC.
Listen, the Chinese already have their market is called heroin.
Yeah, but that's mostly for the pharmaceutical companies. They grow it in Afghanistan and in all these weird countries that you don't know what they make. And then they stick it in a boat and drive it right up the Mississippi to a production factory. Seriously, I didn't know that at all.
So, just kind of touching like a different aspect of the whole marijuana industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in a place like California, there's already having issues with water shortage,
Yeah.
wildfires. A lot of these illegal distribution or what do they call them? The dispensaries and farm, not the dispensaries, but the farms. Okay, so a lot of these illegal farms that popped up.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why they were such a problem, they were number one, they were up in the hills in California.
They're consuming water.
And they're consuming water because here's what's happening. The reason how they were getting caught was neighbors were complaining that water trucks were coming constantly, passing and messing up their lawn, and they're super noisy.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, right? So you're having 5, 6, 7 water trucks a week passing by your house. You up in the California hills. You up there because you want peace and quiet.
Right, and they got all these wildfires.
And they
you
got
imagine a marijuana field catches fire, and freaking half of the freaking Northwest is high.
I mean, it's not too bad.
Popeye's chicken and Taco Bell stock will go through the roof overnight.
Yeah.
What they got over there? In-N-Out Burger. Yeah, that's what they got over there.
And Jack in the Box.
Mm-hmm. It'll be Jack in the Mansion. I can't tell the difference between any of these ones.
Yeah, I don't know the difference. They all taste the same.
Yeah.
All right, so at least the hot sauce is good.
Yeah, the hot sauce is very well. Wait, which one? The green one or the red one? The red one's
Both of
tasty.
them are. That red clay one is good too.
Yeah, the red one's super tasty.
Oh man! And sometimes they're hit or miss with these wings. Like the Ale House are always a hit, unless we get more of those damn 7 pepper freaking wings from Satan.
I guess emotionally recovered.
Yeah. No, I was like, these guys had a hot wing. I mean, now in hindsight, looking at it, I'm sure it wasn't that hot. But I was hesitant to order it because I was like, we need the rest from that. I still feel that one in my stomach.
Yeah. Well, y'all do. And you the reason why you feel is because you ate them the next day.
For breakfast.
You're like, wait, this can't go to waste.
I cried for my mama the same night.
Tommy, we saw it in the video. you were struggling, baby. You powered through though. Let me tell you, you did power through.
He did, but
I didn't use one paper towel.
he had what I like to coin as durian face. Because when he smelled that durian, there was a look on his face like he just saw a ghost.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was bad. Like he was like, "What year is it? I don't know what it is." He had the durian face because those wings were hot. They were
pretty hot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even though we can't really tell the difference, the wings are tasty.
Yeah,
They're meaty.
yeah. Like I was only able to tell the difference between the Asian chili and the honey mustard.
There's an Asian chili. Oh, the cyclone.
Yeah. Yeah, but everything else, it tastes the same.
It tastes like Publix wings.
It does.
You know, you're all right.
Maybe they bought
the
these at Publix.
Publix naked wings though.
Mm-hmm. I think a good business idea. I shouldn't even say it here.
No, you shouldn't.
Such a good business idea.
You shouldn't.
I should.
You should say it off the air. Off the air.
We should make a.
Love it.
We should be ready, waiting to make a super spicy cannabis hot sauce. Oh, look how good the idea was. We're not going to put this on the air at all. I'm going to bleep all of it. Watch.
These are the coconut cool.
Oh, really? The spicy?
No, it just tastes like coconut.
Oh, man.
Listen, none of these wings are spicy. Tommy has not started dabbing.
Oh, what they put on these? This tastes like Malibu.
Yeah? Which one did you get?
This one.
Oh, I gotta try that one.
It tastes like girly drink.
That's it. He's canceled.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God. They literally poured Malibu on these.
Yeah?
I'm unimpressed. Sadly.
I am unimpressed as well.
I mean, I'm happy that I'm eating.
Yeah,
but
there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a...
This ain't gonna make the bar chart.
Yeah, it's not. Not even honorable mentioning.
I mean, they do get a mention.
Yeah, they get a mention, but
Because the wings are meaty.
like if you're in a rush to get some wings, like keep driving.
If you're in a rush to get some wings, just go to Wingstop.
Die stop.
I stop.
So today, a girl came up to us and like, "Oh, you know who has the best wings? Flanagan's." I'm like,
If you only knew.
if you think feathers are one of the 5 food groups, I'm like, she's like, really? I'm like, oh yeah, they weren't even wings. They were like, like what's left over after a chicken explodes.
There were feathers with the side of wing.
Yeah, they weren't good at all. Oh man, so
All right. So what else do we want to talk about as far as like the specifics of this bill? Like, I know you have it there, but how much have you read?
I've read like at least 4 pages of it.
Okay.
Now the other part was it's mostly due to research. Now, when it comes down to research universities, they can't supply this drug to their recipients, to their subjects,
Right.
because it's Schedule 1.
Yeah, because it's still
So
federally legal.
So everyone's thesis on, okay, this would be better if they use this. That would be better if they smoked, or whatever the case may be.
the problem
It's
is
not even so much about smoking either. That's the part that I think that things get
sometimes
lost
it
in
is,
translation.
but the problem is the dosing. Okay, so a doctor is never going to recommend anything that he can't dose exactly the same time every time. Okay, so there's no research as to how much THC is there in Maui Wowie, or how much THC there is in giraffe pussy. Okay.
Oh, God.
I'm
Friends
assuming
with
there's a
vaccine.
lot.
You just had the giraffe pussy, didn't you?
That is the best name for a freaking type of marijuana I've ever heard in my life. But since there's no way of actually measuring this without a study, there's no way a doctor can say, even if it's legal, yeah, go ahead and smoke this, because it's kind of irresponsible on the doctor's part.
Well, so again, that's what I'm thinking about. When obviously, and when everyone thinks about marijuana, their first inclination is, it needs to be smoked.
Right, it doesn't. I mean, they have.
It doesn't.
You haven't seen the video of the guy with Parkinson's, or he has MS, and it's like severe. Like he's
I think
just
I saw
shaking
it.
the whole time.
Listen,
And they literally give him an injection, a syringe full of cannabis oil, and he stopped shaking.
look, we have an employee at City Furniture that has Parkinson's. No, well, he has Parkinson's,
Yes.
and he also has this other.
MS.
Yeah, yes, that's what it is. I won't say his name, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But he uses his sickness as a tool to make sales, and it's been very successful for the
Penny
last.
clothes.
Yeah, it's been successful for the last 20 some odd years that he's been with the company that we work for.
You got to use your blessings.
But all it takes, like, he can't wait to get out of work every day, because when he gets out of work, he goes to his car and he sparks it up. And this man is as cool as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
You'd never know. Like, if you saw him outside, I mean, you would know because of the MS, I guess. But the Parkinson's, the shakes, they're completely gone.
I'm
Completely
telling you.
gone.
And they like with seizure disorder, they found this is how all this started really. They found that low THC, high cannabidiol marijuana strains helped kids not be high, but it helped them with seizures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm talking. Some kids were getting half their brain removed to stop the seizures because they were like,
epilepsy?
Yes.
yeah.
Really?
Some of it is so bad that literally one of the treatments was, we're going to remove this half of your brain that doesn't stop, because you'll be okay with the other brain, and it'll catch up eventually. But that's some serious shit.
How is that ever an option?
No.
We're just going
It worked.
to remove half your
Yeah.
brain.
No,
It's-
it absolutely works.
I get it, but like,
Yeah.
can you imagine saying it to a parent? Oh yeah, well, this is what we have to do. What?
But
It's a common procedure.
yeah, no, not only that, but the alternative is having this kid have seizures. Some of them every 10 minutes. You can't. So
And
all
so-
they had
so
to do was give them this Charlotte Webb strain of marijuana. Now, for adults, they found that the Charlotte's Web strain doesn't work, because it turns out for adults, you need to have the CBDs, the cannabidiols, but you also have to have THC for it to work. Okay, so for the adults, they got to smoke it, or they got to get cannabis oil, and then it works. That's why this gentleman you're talking about, he can't just have some CBD oil. Okay, he has to have the THC in combination.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of stuff that it does. I mean, the problem is, I think the problem is more social science than actual laboratory science. Like we're not replacing the people that are retiring in this country right now. I think the birth rate is 1.2 per people that die. We have one of the lowest birth rates in the world, and it's because women are waiting later to have kids. They're opting for a career, and because they're having kids later, it's probably linked to why we're having the amount of autism and people on the spectrum that we didn't have when me and you were growing up. I didn't know anybody with autism. Okay?
Well,
and now it's everywhere.
The science wasn't there. They were out there.
They were out there, but you think that in the 49 years I've been on this earth, when I was a kid, being the pain in the butt that I am, I would have tapped on someone's head and gotten punched in the face. Okay, I never came across anyone who, be careful with him because he has these issues. Never. I never had to walk on eggshells with anyone. And now it seems like You got to ask because there's a lot of these kids. Okay.
Well, here's what I would say to you. I'll bring it back to the point you made earlier. The internet has made the world a very small place. When you and I were growing up, the way we had to find out about these things was our local news, and if nothing like that came up in our local news, then we'd never know. And MySpace didn't come out till the 90s.
No, of course not. And my concern is with birth rates is that marijuana for sure will put a dent in birth rate because it lowers fertility in men like freaking crazy. So what happens when all these kids, where none of us were really planned, guarantee you, not if your mom wasn't in a clinic with a fertility doctor sitting there going, "Oh, we're gonna try again."
So
the rest of us were,
Right.
"Hey, I gotta tell you something."
Listen.
Okay, that wouldn't happen if everybody was smoking weed.
let me just tell you something. What you just said is foolishness.
Why is it foolishness?
Foolishness.
Why is it? One of my friends
Hold on. Whoa,
got
whoa.
his wife finally had kids because he stopped smoking weed.
What you just said is foolishness.
What?
In Jamaica, I don't say everybody. That's unfair to say.
I know you were gonna bring this
All
up.
the Rastas in Jamaica smoke weed, and let me tell you something. If there's a Rasta with less than 3 kids, it's because he just stopped.
Right, but you know why those Rastas have so many kids?
Okay, insert the funny joke here.
No, it's not a funny joke. It's a social commentary. Okay.
What do you mean?
If marijuana lowers your sperm count, let's say 50%, right? But you don't have anything else to do.
They got
Have
plenty to do.
sex.
They got plenty.
You have kids.
They got plenty.
Okay. So my experience is that most of the Jamaicans I knew growing up did not have cable television. Okay.
We had cable television.
They were not watching Knots Landing and Falcon Crest.
You want to
Okay.
know? So here's what I will tell you, and Tommy might relate to this. You want to know why their fertility didn't go down?
Why?
They didn't eat meat.
They don't eat meat?
No.
And we're talking about putting hot sauce. Freaking marijuana hot sauce. Get high while you eat your wings and make sure you don't have no kids.
So the whole fertility thing, that was a talking point.
This kind of opens up another can of worms.
Oh, one of the many.
More worms?
More worms. Since we're touched on the topic of infertility, birth control of men.
Wonder if it's marijuana based. I'm telling you. You're gonna go to fertility clinic soon, they're
You
gonna
see
be
that
like,
shit last one?
Yeah, these are pigeon.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
It's all good though.
soon you're gonna end up going to a fertility clinic. They're gonna be like, doctors, we haven't been able to get pregnant and this and that. First thing the doctor's gonna do is call Xfinity or Comcast and cancel your shit. What are you gonna do when you get home? Oh no. You got 8 kids. You got no cable. Male birth control. Can you imagine? We'll go extinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go extinct.
Wait, you think men would be on top of it?
Listen.
I think every man who's had to worry about it would just rather take a pill and go out right after. And if they would probably mix it with like Molly or ecstasy, you kill
Okay.
2 birds with one
Let
stone.
me tell you something.
And make you attracted to everybody and absolutely innocuous.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be 100% proof though.
It never is.
Never is. So
It never
you're always
is.
gonna- the only not if vasectomy is not even 100%. I mean, vasectomy obviously is close enough to 100%.
Look, if having cancer taught me anything, it's that, one, you need to be your own damn advocate because you go to a doctor and he just knows what he knows. Okay, he's not looking at the whole story. He's just looking at his chapter. Okay, and I ended up with 2 severed Achilles tendons, and I walk around perfectly normal now and play basketball after 5-6 years of walking like I was Frankenstein. But what that whole disease taught me is that nature, it finds a way. Okay, it turns out I have no Achilles tendons. I thought they healed up. It turns out they're completely severed, and the other 2 tendons that were nearby jumped into the gap space and replaced my Achilles tendons. Okay, vasectomies don't work because, yes, like Jurassic Park, But again, nature finds a way, and I think the same with the male birth control. But I think the male birth control is gonna end up having some weird freaking side effects.
I
They
bet.
always,
yeah.
they
Yeah,
always
it's gonna
do.
be that from that company that made that powder that gave all those women colon cancer.
Oh yeah, no,
gonna be the same shit.
that was talcum powder.
Yeah.
Talking about-
Yeah, that was
No, there
Johnson
was a
and
specific.
Johnson.
Yeah, it was Johnson Johnson. I think that the product was called shower
Shower to
shower.
Yeah, it was talcum powder.
Shower to shower was awesome.
Yeah, you might have cervical cancer.
Maybe. I mean, can't put it past the other.
Mesothelioma.
That's how it's gonna be. They're gonna be like, and now a pill for male birth control, and they're gonna have some wonderful folk song and some people kayaking
Dancing.
and dancing and
No,
some people hugging
you're gonna have a couple in the tub outside.
outside, right? And then you're gonna fall asleep watching TV, and you're gonna wake up at 11 o'clock in the morning, the TV's still on, and then you're gonna hear, "Did you take the male birth control, so and so? You might have a case." Okay, because that's how it always is.
Man, we tore loose this being something fierce, boy.
That's why I ordered as many as I ordered, because I was like, I got a feeling.
Listen, there's good ones and there's bad ones.
There.
So this one it wasn't necessarily bad.
It
It wasn't bad.
It was just small.
It was, they were cooked properly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were
These
fine.
These were pandemic ones.
They were they were small and you couldn't tell the flavors. You couldn't tell the difference between the flavors. So,
These were ration wings.
Yeah, I think part of what the problem is with the wings, as silly as this may sound, because I saw this in a documentary. Again, a couple presidents back, we eliminated the need to legally put on meat and seafood packaging the source of where it comes from.
right?
Before you would buy shrimp and it'd be like, product of Peru
Or Chile.
or Chile. They don't have to put anything anymore.
Well, in this state, yeah.
No, in the United States.
No, not in California.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's the FDA. It's the
They still do it in California.
They
Yeah,
don't.
in California. Yeah.
They don't. It's the USDA. They no longer have to do it. And so immediately, we started getting poultry from China. Okay, and I've seen this. Okay, and you know what they do to these chicken wings in China? Okay. First of all, they're all the wings are juicing. All the chickens are like this. Okay, they take these wings out. They have a syringe connected to saline, to salt water, and they literally go, and it literally inflates them, and then they go down a little bit, but they stay this freaking big. So I think what happens with supply chain is that demand went up like 50% over the pandemic, and demand went up, and China's production went down 50%. So I think that literally we couldn't get the Chinese wings anymore. That restaurants, I guarantee you, were using because they were going to be cheaper and they were bigger. And these are from Kansas. So these are these little normal chicken wings, what they look like in a chicken at a farm, not like a chicken at a LA Fitness in China, because they're like, okay. I think that's what we're seeing, and that's why a lot of these places that were famous for wings, now we go there and we're like, these are really the wings? These are like grocery store wings. What's going on? Like I used to get these at 7-Eleven.
Right.
You know, those little tiny little wings. They were good, but they were like $6 for $1. Okay, there's a reason. So I think that's part of the problem is supply chain. I'm really worried about the Chinese getting involved in marijuana.
I mean, it's inevitable.
I mean, I think we do most of the farming anyway.
This is where I don't have much knowledge on it, but I know it's Schedule 1 here. Like, who says they're not doing it already?
Oh, they might be. They might be, but I think most of the weed is getting grown in California and Colorado.
Yep.
Washington State.
Washington State, yes.
Yep.
And Arizona is also another state that is legal on the state level.
No, it's too fucking hot. You guys don't grow that shit.
Arizona, you can't grow shit in Arizona. You can grow some skin cancer. That's about it. Yeah, it's
Unless we're gonna start smoking cactuses.
right. Hey, people do that. People
Sounds
do
like
that.
a funny name for it.
Yeah, I know what the name is for it. It's called peyote.
Peyote.
and you do not want to smoke peyote. It's hallucinogenic.
Yeah.
It's like ayahuasca. Yeah, it's like you have some kind of religious experience.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's just not good.
Right here.
I have a friend that decided he was gonna move. I think he moved to New Mexico, and he decided to start an animal shelter in New Mexico. And so you see the pictures of his stuff, and he's got this nice place, and it's all set up, but it's in the middle of nowhere in a valley. There's just dust, and I'm like, this looks like Los Alamos where they blew up all those. I'm like, he must have gotten this cheap. I'm pretty sure. I mean, he says that they test the water all the time, okay, but that's code for we got to test the water all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't test all the water for radiation in my house.
Yeah.
Okay, and I have eaten radiation, and they still don't check it, but they check his all the time. It's because that shit's around.
Well, because it's in New Mexico.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? So, all right. So, what else about this bill? Because, like, again, it's one of those things where we can dive so deep and go down so many rabbit holes. So, like, surface level, what are we looking at as far as like?
One of the other things is, of course, everyone's I'll say inclination of why they want to pass it in the first place is taxes. So they plan on taxing every business at 5%.
They're gonna tax them at higher than that.
Yeah, that's pretty modest
No,
to
but
begin with, maybe.
Yes.
You know
But
what they
in the-
tax cigarettes? Okay, a pack of freaking Marlboro Lights is what, like $10 now? Okay, they tax the hell out of it.
Well, it's $15 in New York.
Oh, of course. Well, only the Newports. That's you want to talk about some modern day racist policies? It's the cigarette pricing in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you'd be driving through a nice neighborhood and you'd be like, Newport, $7. And you'll get to like the hood, you're like, hey, should we be driving around here? Was that a Popeye's chicken? $15 for Newport.
Mm-hmm.
It's the highway robbery.
In the text, in the bill, it says on federal level it'll be 5%. So
Whoa.
it'll be up to the states to determine how they do
That's the part that scares me.
That's a big lobby too. So who's the first person that gets involved with this? Who already has the infrastructure, already has negative ads against them, so they're numb to it. They do not care. Philip Morris. Philip Morris will start making joints any minute now. The minute they legalize this, and it'll be $50 for a pack of joints.
And they will sell.
And they'll sell. There'll be a line at CVS.
Well, you're not going to sell at CVS.
Of course they will.
No, they'll sell at Walgreens.
Oh, Walgreens and CVS? There ain't no more Walgreens, is there?
Of course there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's a Walgreens up the street from your house?
Yes.
Isn't it just
I drove
CVS
past
now?
it.
No,
No,
man.
they're two different ones.
Which is the one that disappeared completely?
Rite Aid. Eckerd.
Rite Aid and Eckerd's. That's true. Eckerd's.
Well,
That's
no,
a long
Well,
time.
Eckerd's is CVS.
Eckerd's CVS.
Well, Walgreens is still around, man. Walgreens. Because
Oh, but Walgreens did close down a lot of stores this year and last year due to looting.
In California, the Tenderloin, yeah.
California and New York.
Well, in California, I was talking to a lady from California, and she goes, yeah, it's not even violent anymore. It's like you go to Beverly Hills, you go to Rodeo Drive, and as you walk in, there'll be a bunch of people sitting at a table, like it's an event, and you leave your watch, you leave your purse, and then you can go in. So they don't even actually physically hold you up anymore. They let you give you their stuff, so they don't have to get violent. I'm like, that makes no sense.
you said that very casually.
I'm like, it's like a rock festival. Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And what do you got? You got to steal less than $9.50 for them to do anything about it. Okay, for them to press charges. But that's another part of that whole not charging crimes like they should be charged because of inequity. Okay, but no one's thinking about the people getting robbed. No one's thinking about CVS. CVS was closing stores in California because of it. Okay, and what ends up happening when you do shit like that is you end up with like deep North Miami. Okay, there's no Target in North Miami. There's no Publix in North Miami. After the McDuffie riots in the 80s, everything was Piggly Wigglies.
There's a Target in North Miami.
There is now.
Oh.
Okay, but for like 20, 30 years.
I mean, to be fair, the Target in North Miami is on Biscayne Boulevard.
Of course it's on Biscayne Boulevard. It's just a Sunny Isle. Okay.
No, it's not Sunny Isles. It's North Miami Beach. Or not North Miami Beach, but North Miami.
North Miami, yes, right.
It's Biscayne and like 130 something. Or 140 something.
Yeah, I'm talking about the other side of I-95.
I mean, why would you
No,
want to go there?
there won't be any.
What do you mean? Why would you want to go over there? Maybe you live there.
There won't be a Publix. There won't be a Target.
There's a Piggly Wiggly.
There's Publix over there.
There ain't no Publix
On the
over there.
opposite side of it?
Of course.
No.
Oh, there is. There's one.
Come on. There's Publix. There's Sedanos. There's Presidente. There's Bravo. There's Fresco y Mas.
Those are all the ghetto ones.
I know. That's when Dixie trying to
Dixie
expand.
territory.
Is it Publix or is it public storage?
It's the same color. I could be mistaken.
I'm telling you, I remember going to the Piggly Wiggly and going to all these stores that didn't exist in the regular neighborhoods. And then I moved to Kendall with my black Bart Simpson t-shirt on. And everybody's like, not from here. Where's that kid from? When'd you get that shirt?
So you and I are old enough to remember. There used to be a supermarket called Extra.
Of course. There used to be one right here next to my house.
And there's used to where the Publix is in Dadeland South.
Yeah,
That's where Extra used to be,
I know.
right? So again, it was just like the thing we were talking about the other day. Like, you want to find out where a good hotel is, you look for a Cheesecake Factory or a Chick-fil-A. If you find the Extra, or if you find, because Publix is not the benchmark anymore, because Publix is everywhere.
It's not. It's not.
Right.
You gotta look for a Whole Foods.
You gotta look for a Whole Foods, a
Starbucks.
Trader Joe. No, not Starbucks.
Starbucks is everywhere.
Starbucks is everywhere. Starbucks is everywhere. Like,
They
there's Starbucks across the street from each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, well, not anymore, but in Sunset, there was a Starbucks across the street from each other.
There's a Starbucks on Alibaba Boulevard, except for the mermaids holding 2 AKs. They only sell 40. Hey, what do you want? I want an old English Frappuccino. Yeah, I gotta tell that story. When I went to Atlanta, I go to Atlanta with my family, and I go to hotels.com, and they go Olympic Village, Marriott, or Ramada, one of the two. And you see this beautiful hotel, and when I get there, the car next to me, like 6 Puerto Rican girls come out, and they're all high as fuck. All you see is smoke coming out of the car, and my wife is like, And that Olympic Village looked like it got set on fire and doused with oil. Okay, I was like, We're driving around the hotel. They hadn't picked up the garbage in 6 months. There was literally like a 10-foot stack, like 20 feet long, of just garbage bags. And we walk in. Steakhouse is closed. There's a girl in pajamas with furry slippers behind the counter. And I'm like, hey, look, we already got the hotel. Let's just go ahead and check in. We check in. One elevator works. Okay. We go up the elevator. We walk 2 steps in the room. And it was Olympic Village because the winter luge competition was happening in the shower between all different countries of cockroach. They were going around. I think Romania was winning. So my wife goes, we ain't staying here. I go downstairs. They already knew. I literally said, I'm like, hey, we're not staying here. But like, sir, I just refunded your card. Like, they knew I was coming. So we're driving in the middle of Atlanta. We have no hotel. And I'm like, what the hell are we going to do? I just drove. It took me 1 day to drive up here. We're going to the aquarium the next day. I don't know where the hell are we going to stay. And my wife is like frustrated. And I'm like, get on your phone and type Cheesecake Factory near me. And sure as shit, we made it out. We stayed it out.
Well,
Holiday Inn Express that looked like the freaking Trump Plaza. It was beautiful.
funny, very similar funny story. So
When you went to Jacksonville?
with Jacksonville, right?
Oh man.
So keep in mind, guys. Keep in mind, this place had 4.5 stars.
Oh yeah, so did this one.
4.5 stars. So I'm like, okay, it's downtown Jacksonville. I've driven through Jacksonville. I've never really stayed in Jacksonville. But this place has 4.5 stars. How bad can it be? So then we drive up to Jacksonville and we get there late, right? Probably like 11, 12 o'clock at night. So we get there And I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, the gate doesn't work. That's a problem. So, I pull up and I pull underneath the garage. And next to the hotel is, one of the rivers, or like it's a body of water, right? And then this big bridge, and then there's another side of the downtown, whatever the case
exactly
is.
with it.
So my wife and I get out of the car, and I'm like, there are a few cars in the parking lot. So I'm like, this doesn't feel right, but you know what? I'm tired. Like, it is what it is. So we go up to the door, and it says, "Is a Ruth Chris Steakhouse." I'm like, oh. Okay.
I'll leave my wallet in the car.
There you go. I mean, if there's a Ruth Chris Steakhouse, this place has to be at least halfway decent, right? So we go through the door. We go up to the reception area or whatever, and I was like, oh, we're here to check in, and I didn't want to judge. The lady didn't have on fuzzy slippers and her pajamas. She had on like a uniform. But you can tell that she really didn't care about her
dusty.
job, right? And so my wife is a germaphobe, first and foremost, right? So the whole time my wife's walking in, she's like looking around, and I can see the buildup in her face, because she's like, wait a minute, why does that chandelier have dust on it? Why did people? How can this be a 4.5 star hotel?
She would have died at that Ramada in Atlanta.
Why does this place have 4.5 stars and they can't even dust the chandelier? And I'm like, honey, look, it's 12 o'clock at night. Okay,
4.5 out of 27 stars.
So whatever, we get the room. The place, it looks like it was from the 80s. The carpet looked like it's from the 80s. The carpet smelled like it was from the 80s. But it smelled like at least every week they try to steam clean downstairs. So it's that old smell, and then the smell of Oxy or OxyClean or whatever.
The smell of Febreze dirty socks.
Febreze dirty socks. So we go to the room or whatever. We go to the room. I open the door, and the room, it just looks like something out of a horror movie, yo. Like, I look in the bathroom, and there's like bugs lining up and like walking around on the floor. And my wife was like, no, this is not happening. Now, this is someone who walks with Lysol and Lysol wipes and Lysol spray. Even if this place is impeccable, she's going in there, she's like... So we go back downstairs, and we're like, hey, listen, there was an issue with the room. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. We'll give you another room. I'm like, oh, okay. They give us another room.
Presidential suite.
They upgraded the room, and the room is just as bad as the last one.
This is the President Grover Cleveland room.
So we go back downstairs, and I'm like, look, miss, no offense, we can't stay here. Like, we can't stay here, right? So she was like, I understand, yada yada. So now we're driving, and I'm like, no, don't know, because we're looking on the phone trying to search.
You can't find anything.
Can't find anything.
Know where things are.
And now I don't trust 4.5 stars in Jacksonville, because if you find 4.5 stars in Miami, check it.
Yeah.
You're not gonna find bugs in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? No. You're just not. No. So, sure enough, I was like, look for a Chick-fil-A.
Look for a Chick-fil-A.
She was like, you're so bad. And I'm like, look for a Chick-fil-A. We gonna find a Chick-fil-A. Sure enough, we found a Chick-fil-A, and we found a Sheridan that was across the street that was impeccable. Impeccable.
The new 2023 Cadillac Lyric, all electric, and now with a Chick-fil-A button. Turn right, lock the doors.
Yeah. So I can totally relate to it. It sounds horrible, but like it works. You know, it works. So
I was like, when I first drove through Baltimore, it was scary. I thought I was in The Walking Dead. I don't know where everybody was, but there was nobody on the streets.
Right, because it was Baltimore.
But there wasn't even any homeless people. All I saw was like an old newspaper that flew in the wind. I was like, something happened, and I didn't watch the news.
Because the homeless people are like in like an abandoned building somewhere. They're not walking around.
There was nobody. I'm like, this is too quiet.
It's gotten
It's
better.
like The
though.
Walking Dead.
So it's
Oh,
really
it's got they
like-
got better, of course, because I mean, eventually they start having food festivals and urban renewal, and it pushes people up. They've done it in Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Wynwood.
It's
Yeah.
when I first opened that mattress store in Wynwood, I used to send a salesperson over there, and he had a Mustang, and he would call me once a week, be like, Ozzy, you gotta get me out of here. They stole the
They
horse.
stole my car.
They stole the horse from the front of the car. I'm like, you can't even wear that on a chain. I'm like, where the hell you gonna go sell a Mustang horse? They'd be like, I found it on the street. You want to buy it? But it was every week. They would take a piece of his car. Like if I left it there for 6 months, his car would have been gone. They would have put it together somewhere else. And now it's all.
Well,
it's
that
all
actually still happens.
bougie strippers and little hairy dogs.
It still happens, but now there's just more
It's
trendy
gentrified.
there's more trendy restaurants. So
But it's not even the street fronts as you go in where it used to be ghetto. Because I literally, like, when you used to cross North Miami Ave heading east, you would hear all night long. Yeah, you'd be like, oh, okay, what's going on here? You know, it's a large Hispanic and Puerto Rican community. It was low income. Now it's not. Now you see the same house and you're like, oh, what is that, a crack house? And you'll see two girls in freaking furry slippers and mini skirts come out like, we gotta go drinking.
Yeah,
You know?
Because the thing is, what I appreciate, because again, there are laws, obviously, like historic laws. They can't mess with the outside of the building. But
Oh, because they're a historic
they're
district?
historic.
Yes.
Are they in
Same
Overtown?
thing,
Yes.
Well, Overtown and that, because remember,
And-
Wynwood was
and
Overtown.
Wynwood. That's true.
So the outside of the house might look like crap. They might like throw like a nice paint job on it or something.
Right.
But then you go inside and it looks like, and I'm gonna date myself, like MTV Cribs.
Yeah.
Like it's all modern and posh and artifacto furniture and
Artifacto furniture.
Emilio
pipes.
Robbie, right? It's all modern and stuff. So
This coffee table is made completely of crack pipes. Some of them still have crack in them.
yeah.
Renewable energy.
Yeah.
The renewable energy. Look how fast that man runs. This is the food of the future.
Yeah. So I mean, look, I really want to dive a little bit more deep into the MORE Act. I think it's supposed to go to the Senate on the 20th for 420.
On 420.
I don't know if they did that on purpose, but
Very symbolic.
I'm there for it, right? I think there are a lot of great benefits to marijuana if used properly.
Well, just with the state of things that may possibly happen, actually that have already started happening, we're all going to need to start smoking soon. Because at the rate we're going right now, March, April of 2023, gasoline's going to be $10 a gallon.
Well, it's already $10 a gallon in
Title
California.
42 is no longer. Okay, so
Ooh.
Title 42 that was keeping immigrants out because if they had COVID, they could say, oh, no, you got to go immediately.
Right.
That didn't get renewed, so there'll be 500,000 people a month coming into this
Man,
country.
you'd be surprised. These people aren't.
You'd be
Russian.
surprised. You would be surprised when they live in your backyard and be like, "Hey, senor, can I use a towel?"
Well, they can't live. Look, I know you're just joking around, but look, I don't think it's that.
The jokes I make on this show tend to be news in 6 months. So
Yeah.
that's actually why I say them, because I'm going to be like, we're going to be in May and we're going to be here. And there's going to be a guy sitting here with 2 kids, okay, right
No,
next
there
to
isn't.
us.
No, there isn't.
And he's going to be like, I like wings, senor. And he'll be like, I told you, they're everywhere. You got a 5-bedroom house. That's enough for 60 people to live in.
I mean, I don't think so. I honestly don't think so.
First thing they're going to look
And
when
you
they
know
get
what?
into this country
And
is
here-
Osvaldo Hernandez.
And look, for whatever what it is, if that's the case, I mean, that's kind of how we started out, right? The United States were like, "Yo, come through," because
Not really. We were escaping from the British.
listen. Oh my God! Did you see the thing that happened when Prince Harry and his wife went to all those Caribbean countries?
No.
Oh my God!
No,
You have to
I
watch
didn't.
it. They showed up in these Caribbean countries. The worst one was Jamaica.
Like, look at us.
Hold on. The worst one was Jamaica. They got off the plane and people were on the side on the side with picket signs like, "We don't want you here. You England slaved our people,
Right.
and
Our
took our
colonies.
things.
Right.
The only way you can come through and have a good time is if you coming through with some dough, or you coming through with some kind of reparations."
And
but
we can pick it all day long because we ain't got no cable television.
They have cable television.
It's got 3 channels:
But
the Peter Tosh channel
It
and the
ain't got
Bob
no
Marley
Peter Tosh
channel.
When he got to Jamaica, listen. When he got to Jamaica, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, okay, nope, the Prime Minister of Jamaica said, "Oh yeah, come on," and he invited him for a little press conference. The prince and his wife, and before they sat down, he was like, "Oh, just so you know, we're an independent country and we don't want nothing to do with y'all. We welcome you. You can sit down and have a good time, but understand that we don't see the queen, this monarch thing. Like, we don't know why she's there. She doesn't help us.
Nope.
She's taken everything away from our country, slaved our people." This man said this.
Well, I need to watch it. I haven't seen it.
Bruh, you need to watch it. They went to the Bahamas. I think the Bahamas was the only place who was like, "Oh, we don't give a fuck. Let's go. Let's
Because the Bahamas are still under British common law.
Right. So they were like, "Oh yeah, the queen. We don't know who she is, but whatever, you know." But everywhere else that they went to, they were like, "What you doing here?" No. What you mean this is the royal trip to build relationships? Bruh, we haven't seen you in like 20 years.
They don't even want them in England though. They were living in Canada.
Bro, I don't.
That's just-
I thought it was the funniest thing.
One
You have
big
to watch
mess.
it. You have to watch it. Like, it was crazy.
One big giant mess.
Yeah.
Okay, and the thing is, he married Meghan Markle, right?
No, not that guy. The other one. Not Meghan Markle. I'm talking about the one, the actual. What's his name?
Prince Harry?
No, Harry. Who's married to
Edward.
No, who's married to the Kate? Kate, what's her name?
Kate Middleton.
Right.
And the bald guy.
Right, that guy. It was those two.
Oh, okay.
It was those two. No, if Harry and Meghan went, I don't think they would have got that kind of. No, they would have gotten a good welcome. You know, because at the end of the day, even though Meghan, like, she doesn't look like a black lady, but she's still a nigga.
Well,
bro.
you know what happened at that wedding, right? You know how Kevin
The mother.
Hart. No, and the dad or the uncle or something. You know how Kevin Hart always talks about his dad showing up to freaking to his spelling bee and shit.
Yeah,
it was just like that. They were sitting there like, "Do you take this lady be wife?" And he's like, "You gonna learn today. Got some long dick in here today." Okay, so
Wow.
it was like that where the queen and they were like,
What's his
What
name?
is this guy?
I thought it was Philip. Is it? No, it's not Philip.
Andrew.
It's not Andrew.
Prince Andrew.
God, now I gotta look at it.
What's the other one? There's one of them that looks
Harry's
like,
the one that's married to Meghan, right?
that's the one that looks like Howdy
Yes.
Doody with the red hair.
Right. Okay. Let me look. Again, I just showed my age. I don't know about pop culture and even though I'm Jamaican and
Prince Harry. Oh, I can't even.
what is his name? Okay, so King.
All I could tell you is that they're both sons of Princess Diana,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And one of them looks just like his dad, okay? And the other one looks like
Prince William. Sorry.
yeah, Prince William.
There you go.
Right, so it's Harry and William. So William looks just like his dad. And Harry looks just like Princess Diana's best friend, this redhead dude. But yeah, nobody cares about those royals anymore. It's like, even here, people are like, "Oh, the royals." Nobody cares about that. I mean, everybody's worried about everything else now. Ain't got time to worry about the richest, largest land-owning family in the world. Okay.
Yeah.
The people.
Gas.
That's where people say, the United States. Oh, they're colonizers. We're not colonizers. We never colonized anybody. Okay. We were the colony. Okay. We were the British colony, and we
Okay.
actually defeated them thanks to the French and everybody else.
I don't know. I don't know how you can. You guys have to watch this. Can you pull it up here?
Oh, I don't even know. I don't think so.
Oh my god, you guys have to watch this. It is so awkward. It's so awkward. It is freaking hysterical, dude.
Put it in the
I'm gonna put it in the outtakes. I'm gonna put it after the credits. I'm gonna put a video of that. I'll put a snippet of it.
Bro, hold on. I'll send it. I'll put it in the group chat. Because again, you'd never expect that. Because even if they weren't welcome, like still like they're, even though we don't recognize the whole royalty thing, like there's still like some kind of nostalgia to that. Not for black people,
No.
obviously, because everybody can feel a way about how the British and the French and the Portugal and all these
But the British literally colonized
everywhere.
and just pillaged
I know.
everywhere, from India to
Yeah.
Africa
Yeah.
to the United States, the colonies, the 13 colonies. Okay, and the whole revolution started because a British soldier killed a black man. His name was Crispus Attucks, I think.
That I don't
He was the first person killed in a brawl, in a confrontation between British soldiers in Boston and the locals, and they killed him, and that actually sparked the Boston Tea Party that started the Revolutionary War.
Wow.
So that it's we
See,
have-
you
we
got
have
a
history.
little bit of everything with chicken wings and controversial
Yes,
things.
you
We
do.
jump into history. We talk about pop culture. We're not going to
Politics.
we're not going to talk about the slap that was heard across the.
His
We're not
ass-
gonna-
he is getting
Listen.
canceled
Oh yeah,
We're not going to talk about the open hand bit slap
on
that
TV.
I forgot.
is literally. Well, you know what's crazy about our time now? If that happened in the 90s, let's say it happened in 92, in 98 it would still be like, bro, you see what happened with Will Smith slap. It was literally outside of the top headlines Tuesday.
Oh no! To the point that I thought it was fake. I'm like, there's no way this is real.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, all of Chris Rock's shows are sold out from now on.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he's on tour.
And he's in the middle of a tour. He's like,
Yeah.
maybe he saw his sales weren't good, and he had Will Smith smack.
No, his
Seeing-
sales were good. They
seeing how
were
they-
adding tickets.
Seeing how they've come down on Will Smith for this, that was not staged.
I forgot. There
No,
was,
I
there
don't
was some
think
comedian.
I was 50-50.
There was some comedian
I
that
was
said
50-50,
that
yeah.
after, like, if he was Chris Rock, after the slap, he would have made entanglement jokes.
And listen, Chris Rock
This
can.
is all
Chris Rock
that
is
lady's
funny.
fault. Look, this is all that lady's fault. That lady disrespected the hell out of Will Smith, and he allowed it.
Look, I'm not gonna.
He thought that was gonna fix their situation.
No, okay. So
Okay.
obviously, you and I know that relationships are complicated.
They are, but they aren't
Right.
that complicated.
But they can be.
I'm like, hey, I'm
But-
having
but,
trouble
okay.
with my wife. Let me call Little Yachty to come and sleep.
But hold on. But you also have to remember that these people are. Will Smith is a megastar. Like,
He is,
Just-
but
just
they
to put-
still
just to
have
get-
the same problems me and you have.
of course he does, but on a grander scale, because for Will Smith to go up there and slap another celebrity, and not just any celebrity, like Chris Rock. Chris Rock is pretty popular.
All because his wife went,
Yeah.
But I want you to think about this. If that was any other person that did that, security would have removed him. He would have been arrested. That man went back and sat down.
Yeah.
That man went up there and got his award and cried.
Yeah.
That man went and partied singing his Miami song,
Yep.
right?
And
he
next
was
year-
being comforted by Denzel Washington and what's that Uncle Tom black guy that does the shit in Medea.
Uncle Tom.
Oh,
Black
Tyler
guy.
Perry.
That was an asshole move. I'm sorry. I was just joking
Uncle.
around.
That man was homeless
Listen,
and literally pulled himself up
it was a joke.
by the crack pipe.
It was just a joke, okay?
He picked up his crack pipe and found a better world in comedy and theater.
Listen, Tyler Perry has done wonderful things for his community,
Called
for
the man a house Negro.
African American people. I just think there are just certain things that he portrays. While it's funny,
Yes.
sometimes some of it's just not that
It's
funny.
tired out.
It's not just tired out. It's just
He portrays
Not-
caricatures that are
Look.
misconstrued as
Yeah, exactly.
stereotypes, and they continue to perpetuate it.
it continues, and the thing is, it feeds. Look, are we gonna sit here and say that there aren't absolutely ignorant people in our world, in our society? that don't care about where the information comes from. All they have to do is see a Madea movie and they're like, oh, that's how all niggas are.
Yeah.
All of them are like that.
You know, my favorite black actor.
And then they're gonna treat their fellow black person that they've known or fellow Latin person that they've known, they're gonna treat them accordingly based on that movie because they're not nimble enough to see outside the box. So that's where I have like Jordan Peele, Jordan Key, love those guys.
Yeah.
Love them.
There's one black actor.
Which is why you gotta see no.
Look,
I'm not watching that movie.
there is
Get Out was it for me, bro. Yeah. Listen, I can watch horror movies, Ozzy. I can watch horror movies.
Don't watch the others because I still see those people when I look out the window.
I can watch horror movies. Don't do anything for me.
You gotta watch no.
Nothing. I watch Get Out and I'm like, nope, that's it for me.
You gotta watch Us.
No more.
Us. That's what I'm talking about. Those people like.
Yes.
Nope.
The Tether
sir.
people.
But look,
Yes.
there is one critically acclaimed black actor.
Sidney
And
Poitier.
No, not Sidney Poitier. This is my favorite black actor.
Which one?
And he passed away recently. And he passed away COVID. And he was a hood motherfucker.
Who was this?
Okay.
Debo.
He was a hood motherfucker.
Tiny Lister. What you talking about?
Tiny Lister. And he even played a president in a movie, in a space movie.
Tiny Lister.
Tiny Lister with his crossed eye. That man was given a crossed eye by Jesus.
With the one by wasn't it
Bruce
with
Willis.
Bruce Willis?
Okay.
You're right.
So that man not
did love Tiny
only
Lister.
not only did he personify the stereotype of just a hood ass freaking dude, right? And that's what he became famous for. And then he turns around, he's president and another thing. And that man wasn't born to be an actor. That man has the laziest eye I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I mean, he was a bodyguard and he was a wrestler.
He was a wrestler.
Yeah.
That is my favorite
He was Zeus.
black actor ever.
They made a movie. That was Hulk Hogan's movie. It
Yeah,
was
but
a
Zeus,
horrible
he was
movie. And let me tell you something.
Because look, you could argue that it's Denzel Washington, but Denzel Washington has done a lot of roles, and they're all kind of the same now.
I just want to make a random comment. I heard Mike Tyson's going to be the host of the Grammys next year.
Yeah.
Will Smith wasn't gonna slap that. I'll tell you that shit.
And the next award goes to
Let's look at.
Evander Holyfield.
You want to know what the funny thing is? So remember when the next, obviously the next day everybody was talking about it, right?
Yes.
And it just happened to be the same day that your customers decided to fucking choke his fucking girlfriend in the store. Everybody was feeling froggy. The first thing I said to myself when I watched it,
It was probably caused by Will Smith.
the first thing I said, I was like, I wonder if he would have did that if The Rock was up there. Then I started reading social media, and they were like, yeah, he knew who he was messing with. In Jamaica, they have a phrase, a duppy knows who for frighten. A duppy know who for frighten. Okay? So, I tell you what, the reason why he did that is because it was Chris Rock that was up there.
Yeah.
It was.
He did. So,
He would have done that to Dave
it was-
Chappelle.
Probably would have did that to Dave Chappelle.
Dave
Dave Chappelle would have fought back, probably.
Dave Chappelle's been doing some jail waits.
But
Yeah.
He's like,
true. But here's the thing: Dave Chappelle would have roasted his ass for the rest of that show.
He would have went in on that.
He would have roasted
He
his
would- he
ass the
would've
rest of the
doubled
show.
down for sure.
Oh my god,
For sure.
like $100,000. So Chris Rock, he handled it better than
champ.
anybody,
Chris Rock handled it like a professional.
like a champ.
He got slapped on TV. Now, here's the thing, and I think it was, who was it that said it? Who usually says the stupidest shit? Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
But he actually said, this sticks with Chris Rock forever now.
Yep,
Okay? And he was like, Chris Rock should press charges.
press charges,
Or at least civilly sue him.
civilly sue, absolutely.
For 200.
Yeah, for millions.
that,
yeah.
yeah.
For everything. For sure. Look, you can say whatever you want, man. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against I love Will Smith. I think he is inspirational. And this man does not have, this is the only blemish on his record. Am I gonna roast him for it? Nah. Not at
You know
all.
what?
It was pretty
It was pathetic.
it was pathetic. It sucked. It was super fucked up.
The reason
But
why
I get it.
was pathetic. It really was.
You shouldn't slap a bitch.
Yeah, because time and place.
No, well, the thing is, this man has made a reputation of being above everything, of being.
That voice of
Yes,
reason.
voice of
He's
reason.
like the voice of reason, and not only that, but you could take your kids to watch Any Will Smith movie.
You can can listen to Will Smith's songs without having to worry about anything derogatory.
Yeah. And he just messed all of that.
No, he didn't. No.
He did.
He made a mistake.
He did for the non-African American audience.
No, I don't think so. I doubt it. I doubt it.
I can see your point. Like,
you see my point?
I see your point, but I doubt it.
Personally, I don't think so. I think he'll be fine in the end.
He'll be fine. Give him a year.
But
he's gonna lay low for a year. He's gonna, because look, what he's been doing. He's just been traveling and living his best life and like making all these, like what he does in other countries and like the what he brings to like the celebrity. It's almost like I kind of equate him to Shaq. I love Shaq. Right?
Yeah,
but obviously Shaq, you know, if Shaq were to go up there and slap somebody, they'd be like, "Well, fuck, man."
Well, first of all, Shaq would be in jail for murder because the person's head
and
they'd be like, "I didn't mean to."
And I think security would have. I think there would have been a swarm of security to like.
No,
they would have
shot. Yeah, no. If Shaq were to get up and start walking, I think there would have been like cautionary
measures. Yeah. Like Chris Rock wouldn't have stood up there. He'd have been like,
yeah. All right, now to commercial.
Yeah. It's a time for a break.
Shaq goes up there and grabs Chris Rock and eats him. Did that just happen?
That guy's literally I don't know how he's not like one of the 7 wonders of the world, brother.
He is.
He's a monster.
And during the commercial break, it would be like, "Are you a male from the ages of 18 to 65? Have you been taking the male birth control?"
Do you go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning? You might have mesothelioma. Oh man, but yeah. Gosh. I mean, literally, the last podcast we did, we're like, so much has happened.
But even
it's been a week. That was last week.
It was a good week.
And now we got legal marijuana, 500,000 Mexicans on the border, and freaking wholesome Will Smith just slapping people on network television.
International network television, right? Then obviously the other thing we wanted to jump into was like supply chain, right? So I was watching this thing where the thing I wanted to talk about the most, tell you the truth, is the lease to own. You know how you hear these commercials and they're like, "Oh, you know, work for this John Krishner or wherever trucking, and you know, our owner operators make so much money." I'm very passionate. Okay, I'm very passionate about what I'm doing.
Chris Rock in the freaking film.
Yeah. Owner operators, you know, enjoy freedoms and, you know, at home on the weekends and all this foolishness.
Work from home.
Come to
making the stamps,
right? Come to find out that some of these lease to own programs for these truckers, like, it's not even like a rent-a-center where after a year or two you actually own your furniture, you get to keep it, right? Yeah. With these trucks, these are $100,000 trucks. They'll work their whole career with this company and never own a truck. And they can't leave, because if they leave, all the money that they've invested in the truck that they were leasing to own, they can't take it with them.
Are you sure it isn't Rent-A-Center?
It probably is. It probably is.
Because I could swear, look, I'll be online and they'll be like, Dell laptop, $299. And then you go to Rent-A-Center and it's like, for only $2,300, you can buy this $399 Dell laptop.
Yeah. I want you to think. Finger hurt's the worst.
Oh man.
So I want you to think about this, right? So think of one thing that a truck doesn't haul from state to state.
Marijuana.
Well, it probably does that too. But think about all our goods and services.
Of course, everything you buy.
Everything you buy
by a truck.
Is being hauled by a truck.
And
there's a truck that picks it up from the wharf, because the trucks that pick it up from the wharf are different from the trucks that take it from state to state.
Right. Those are called long
haul. Long haul and there's a rig something.
Right. So there's a couple of problems with the supply chain on our side now. One of them is that the average truck driver is 50 years old in this country, which means we're not replacing them with young drivers.
But do you want to know why?
Well, one is because an 18-year-old driver can't cross state lines in a truck.
It's not only that.
And salary-wise, a truck driver gets paid per mile. Which
Exactly.
means when he's stopped at a port and he's
For
waiting to get
19
loaded
hours.
up. He's not getting paid. That's
getting
free.
paid.
So he's getting paid for how many miles he drives, okay, and he has to, by law, rest for 10 hours
10
a day.
hours. So if you were waiting for those 19 hours, now you have, because you're up during the day waiting for whatever your load.
So the average day is the 14 hours that are left. But like I said, you only get paid per the mile that you go until you're loaded or unloaded. You don't move.
Right.
And right now, we have, I think it's 50% less people working at these docks because no one wants to work because they were getting all this money from COVID and all this. So we don't have enough dock workers. Supply, demand went up. China's capacity went down by 50%. So there's a traffic jam of stuff. It takes 30 days to come across the ocean anyway. Sometimes it takes a year from the time it's manufactured to the time you see it at a store. And these truckers, where they start, they're getting paid 30-something cents a mile, and they're making $35,000 to $40,000 a year.
I actually, it's a little bit more than that.
I actually heard these statistics today. Okay, now because there's a shortage already.
The ones that work from Walmart and
No, if you're working for a large company,
Like
you're
Walmart,
making up to
Amazon.
60.
not Amazon.
No, you're making up to 60 cents. Okay, and if you're working for like some of these specialty companies, then you could possibly be making 70 cents, but you're making 100 grand a year.
Right.
But the majority of them are starting off with 35, 40,000. The price of gas has now gone up. Diesel's close to $6. It costs $1,200 to fill up a $200 gallon gas tank.
So I want you to think about this, right? So you have let's say you go to like a regular, I wouldn't say a big shipping, and some of the big shipping big trucking companies do this as well. So you're a driver, right? You just completed your week. You go to your boss for your paycheck. And your boss is like, "Hey, great to see you, man. All right, so let's see. Let's take out all the deductions here. We got toilet paper. You did leave the truck in the yard for like 3 days, so we have to charge you for every day we leave the truck in. Okay. Then you use the company credit card for the maintenance for the truck. There was a blowout, and you get all these deductions, and at the end of it, the truck driver has a $150 check. There's some cases where the truck driver goes to get his paycheck, and they're like, "Nothing for you today, bro," because of all the deductions.
Yeah.
All the fees that these companies charge, and they're independent owner operators.
Right.
But there are some companies that say they're independent owner operators, but you can't use a truck to haul anything else for any other company. You have to depend on them to give you your loads.
You have non-compete. Here's the problem. That whole system now that I think was already broken. I think COVID, what's happened is it's exacerbated it. And then we've thrown more fuel on the fire with the gas prices. So they say that by 2028, there's going to be a shortage of 180,000 truck drivers.
I believe it.
Okay, that's about 10% of the truck drivers we have now. So this isn't going to get fixed.
Yes, it is. So here's why I brought it up. It's because this year is the first time that the Department of Labor, and I want to say, I forgot what the other agency is. It's the first year that they've said, okay, there's an issue, right? We have to start creating laws and creating regulations for these trucking companies, because these trucking companies, right?
But
These owner operators, hold on,
there used to be. Okay, in 1980.
Yes.
Before
there used to be.
1980,
I forgot which president. It was. I think it was actually.
they deregulated the trucking industry.
So
it was
that
Reagan. Okay, they deregulated the trucking agency, where before the trucking agencies and the truckers were protected by the Teamsters union. Okay, and they were unionized. Now they're no longer protected by unions
because they're independent owner operators.
Because they are deregulated.
So how wonderful is this? Amazon does this as well, where they're independent owner operators, right? So if they get into an accident, the driver, the independent driver, has to pay Amazon's legal fees. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't know that. But they're getting constant work. But right now there is constant work because there's a shortage.
Right.
And the problem also is that they get to the docks and they have to wait.
Yeah.
Because they can't unload them fast enough.
Right.
I think eventually this all gets AI'd and
so they no, I understand. I don't think it's gonna get
already Amazon, their sorters and pickers, some of them are AI and robotic.
Yeah,
And
because
they
of
double,
the speed standards that they
they double the productivity. But eventually, I think as we get better with these self-driving vehicles, maybe we start making dedicated roads just for supply chain.
Oh God, that's too
like
that's way down the road.
If we made a highway right across the U.S. or a train right across the U.S. and all it did was all day long. Look, it goes from here to the ports in like North Carolina and back in California and L.A.
That sounds great, but
and then the truckers only got to go to those spots. I think eventually something like that's going to happen because the way it's happening now, it doesn't work.
No, of course not.
Okay.
So that's why the Department of Labor and the other agency, I forgot the name of it now. This is the first year that they're actually going to look at it because the thing that they're looking at is there's no more they don't want to do this owner operator thing anymore, right? Because if you hire a truck driver, then he's an employee of your company in some capacity. Not maybe a full employee, you won't get full benefits.
Maybe it's a 1099, right?
But you're gonna tell me that this you have someone that you employ, and this person's family member passes away, and they don't have any benefits or they can't like go and see their family.
There's a lot of 1099 workers, and
you see what I'm saying?
these long haulers are gone two weeks at a time.
Right.
Okay.
So I mean, unless the funeral is gonna be held at a Wawa,
and here's the problem.
then they can go.
The problem in this country in general is people have this mentality of, I'm going to retire, I'm going to work, I'm going to save, I'm going to retire, I'm going to enjoy my retirement for 11 years, and then you hit about 78, and that's the average age of someone dying in the U.S.
Yeah. Okay,
so you worked and busted your entire life to enjoy it for 10 years, 11 years. Okay, it's a quality of life topic. You know, it's different. And I think with truck drivers, the problem now is that a 20-year-old can make 40 grand doing just about anything. Okay, if I was 20 and had no other freaking choices, the garbage man makes more money than that. Okay,
true.
The problem is that now the garbage man is really the garbage driver.
Yeah, because the truck already takes it.
And that robotic arm grabs and goes, okay, and that didn't exist 15 years ago.
And that robotic arm...
That sounded ridiculous.
Healthcare, does not need sick pay, does not need vacation, does not need maternal, paternal...
Look, here's the thing. It's obvious that there are some aspects of our life that's going to be...
automated.
Going to be automated, right? But at the same time, there still needs to be something that these people can do.
Chicken Wings and Controversial Things is brought to you by Taj Dwar, Ozzy Hernandez, and Thomas Owens. If you got any ideas for our show, please email us at thechickenwingpodcast@gmail.com or go to our website, www.thechickenwingpodcast.com. Thanks for listening.